Well, good evening. Cowboy Jim back in the land of the living, shall we say. And by that I mean I was off in the land of making a living, and now I can sit down and enjoy the fruit of my labor. And anyways, I this is Cowboy Jim, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, a retired rancher, real poor cowboy, a little bit of martial arts and a whole lot of being Irish and a tribute to God. And that's the way it is. So I have been in a quandary as to the substance of this video, and I had a dear friend, a good friend, and every time he sees me in the smoke pit at work, he'll always come over and do a handshake and stuff like that, and the man I know loves the Lord, and I also know that he recognizes a certain element in my person that I too truly love God. And so we had talked about something, and I said, well, this all took place at the same time that I was poisoned. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he said, poisoned? You were poisoned? And I thought, what have I done wrong here in that I have referred to that season or that time of satanic attack through a man and a lady, I might add, who seemingly didn't want anything to do with God nor behaving properly, and thus it's a choice, God or Satan, and I'm real confident they chose Satan. And I thought, I wonder how many people have not heard about my having been poisoned at work, and I thought, the last 500, 600, 700 videos, I guess I haven't been expressly clear. So let me rectify that. And I thank you. Hey, I thank you for watching my YouTube videos. Okay. I'm not sure yet what to call this video. I asked the Lord, title, no. Content, no. Notes, no. Just sit down and wing it. Well, hey, I'm not a learned person, so I'm sitting, let's wing it. This time in my life when I was poisoned, drugged for 4 months while I ran haul truck in a mine here in the north. And I did not know the effects of medical drugs that would come from a psychiatrist. I didn't know. I learned very quickly. And it started really the night that I delivered the video that is called Christmas in a Haul Truck. And that is a must-see. That is one of the God thing videos that only God could orchestrate. And it was very simple, where I had been honored, privileged, really, to have 11 shifts on an excavator. And my supervisor, I asked an acquaintance, ask him how I did on the excavator. And he said, the supervisor said about my running an excavator, he said, well, sure tell the boy's been around a hoe. And then he said, I wouldn't ask Jim to dig a ditch with a 1-inch drop every 6 feet. But he said, if I were bulking dirt, Jim would be the first person that I hired for the job. First person. I thought, whoa, that's high accolades. It's a tribute to God, because God taught me how to run a hoe. He didn't tell me how to do everything with it yet, but I've been learning for 8 years now. And anyway, so I had been sitting in the hoe, and this would be a short reflection of Christmas in a haul truck. I said to God, I'm bored. There were no trucks to scratch the boxes and so on like that. I said, Father, it's nigh on to Christmas. I would just so appreciate it if you would give me the opportunity of praying for my crew. And God said very clearly, you will get to pray for your crew. I said, you got to be kidding. I meant on the radio. I said, hey, Father, I mean on the radio. He said, on the radio. I said, wow, do you have your work cut out for you? Anyways, so God and I did that YouTube video, Christmas in a haul truck, and it went over big, real big, actually, real big. And 2 people of note that I know, there were probably 100 people listening, probably. And but the 2 people that reflected the 2 thieves almost on the crosses, either side of Jesus, was a big black football player, perhaps from Jamaica. And he said that he told a mutual friend, I heard Cowboy Jim the night he gave his sermon, Christmas in a haul truck. And the other was a young man who I am absolutely convinced is sold out to Satan. Totally convinced. And his lady, I'm totally convinced. Not a question. One of the things that you will find is the fulfillment of the scripture. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in high places. Meaning, we are in a spiritual warfare. I have said that verse for years, but it's one thing to speak of something that you can stand back and somewhat, shall we say, nonchalantly, just kind of look at it. It's another thing to be right in the midst of it. So I did not know that the impact that God and I were having in the spirit world would merit Satan's attention. I didn't. I'm a very extremely, extraordinarily humble person, and I had no idea that these 2 guys, the football player and the demon-possessed DOZER guy, would be so affected by that breakthrough, that success, that amazing time doing the video, Christmas in a haul truck. But apparently God did a real good job, because Satan went crazy. And this is how he did. It was not very long after, a couple of days after that Christmas in a Haul Truck video, that a young man in he's about 34, a bit fat, tall, and not of God. Okay, let's not joke each other. Not a God. I had no idea, because I did not think anything that I was doing merited a satanic attack. But we got her. We really got it. And this guy, he kind of sidled up to me a little bit, and he even went so far as to offer to give me a ride to work in the morning, so I wouldn't have to drive my old truck in the minus 50s and stuff like that. And he was so kind. And I had what was called a hot lunch box. That is a battery heated lunch box, and very cheap, very wonderful, gives you a hot meal at work. And I am a cook, and so I would cook some pretty decent meals. And so this guy said, listen, I'll pick you up and in the morning. I said, you gotta be kidding. He said, no. I said, like, why would you do that? He said, because good things happen to good people. And I looked at him. I thought, you don't even know me. Okay. I asked him, I said, did you, were you working the night that I gave that Christmas story in a haul truck? He said, yes, I was. I said, what did you think of it? He said, oh, I think it was wonderful. And I thought, the word sincerity, does it have any place in this at all? It was not sincere what he was saying, but I could not put my finger on it. And I rather enjoyed the ride to work. Well, anyways, he picked me up the next morning, and he picked me up for the next 5 months. And then all hell broke loose. And the first that I noticed that things were going in the toilet was when he said, hey, your lunchbox, he called it my tackle box. It looks like a small tackle box. He said, looks heavy. I said, no, actually, it's not. It's light, actually. He said, I will give you a ride to the front gate. I will drop you off at the front gate of work, and you head on in. He said, leave the tackle box for me. I will carry it for you. I thought, well, I could carry two cups of Tim Hortons, and I rather like coffee, and so I did. And I never thought at all about his motivation. I knew, and oh dear Lord God in heaven, as the story unrolls itself, as the pages turn, evil intended people are smooth. Okay, the Irish people like me, we're not smooth. We just speak from the heart, and perhaps a little simple. Okay, and but anyways, I rode with that man every day for about the next 5 months. And after he started carrying my lunchbox in, I started to have trouble. And I did not know what the trouble was. I didn't understand. But my clarity of thought was not as quick as it had always been. And it got so bad. I mean, he would carry my lunch in and say, here it is. And then I would plug it in, heat it up in the truck, and I would have my lunch. But something happened in my head. every time I ate my lunch. And it got so bad, and I never understood that he was tampering with my food. You see, his lady was a nurse who had a friend who was a psychiatrist who was well able to supply, I don't want to use the word psychedelic, but to supply prescription drugs that they would normally give to a person who was crazy or suffering from some form of mental illness. And not everybody that takes meds for a mental health issue, they're not crazy necessarily. Well, some may be, but they're not. They're suffering from a medical dilemma. And that's the way it is. So every day when I would eat my lunch that he had carried in, that his wife, I know, was supplying him with drugs to put in my food. And the access to my lunchbox was achieved by this demon-directed 34-year-old DOZER guy. My lunchbox was available. He could tamper with it. He did. Only answer that I've been able to come up with. I told people after I realized he was drugging me, and who would ever imagine in Canada that could happen? And so I don't blame the people who didn't believe me, but I know I sure thank the people that did choose to believe. And I would eat my lunch and I would begin to lose my mind. After 4 months, I would eat my lunch. And if someone had asked me, "What are you doing?" I would not have been able to tell them. If I had to dump a load to a dozer and or to a pile, I was so gone, so crazy from these drugs that I was totally incapable of operating my equipment. My one supervisor, he liked me back in those days. He said, "You have become the worst driver in the mine." He said, "You were the best driver in the mine, and now you are the worst." He said, "If you make one more mistake, the head company is going to ban you." And I thought, I'm in so much trouble. And I did not understand why and or how until that young man invited me down to Athabasca to meet his lady, the nurse type person whose friend was a psychiatrist. And so we walked in. I walked in and sat down, and the lady sat across from me. And the first thing she said to me was, "Your eyebrows are evil." I thought, they're eyebrows. They can neither be evil nor good. They're eyebrows. They're just hair growing out of a particular. And when you get older, those hair really grow longer, quicker. I looked at her and I thought, I was still stoned from these drugs, whatever it was they were giving me. I mean, stoned. I was able to drive my truck, yeah, but not much more than that. Okay. Drugged, stoned. The lady said, "Don't worry. I'll pluck your eyebrows for you." And I thought, "Woman, you don't know me, eh? I mean, pluck my eyebrows?" She said, "Yes, because they look evil." Then she said, "You," first time she ever met me, "you are an alcoholic." She said, "You are mentally ill." I'm looking at her. I couldn't argue with her about the mental illness part because I did not know that they were drugging me, tampering with my food. I was eating it. I was losing my mind. Every day that I ate my lunch, I would say to God, why am I losing my cotton picking mind? And God would speak. I would always hear. He would say, you are right where I want you to be. I said, I'm going nuts. He said, you're where I want you to be. So, okay, let's go back down to the weekend with that couple who exemplified demonic influence, control. Whoa. And she said to me, first time I ever met her, really? Gee whiz. So I had evil eyebrows. I was a drunk. Hey, I drank. I was not a drunk, but I drank. And she said, you are mentally ill. That's the part that I struggled with because I could not say, no, I'm not. She said, I want you to know something. I said, what's that? She said, you can come and spend the rest of your life with us. We will take care of you. We have a spare bedroom in the basement, and you can spend your days off there. I said, oh, I would miss Fox News. She said, we'll get Fox News put on the TV. They did. And I had asked this young man, why are you being so kind to me? And he said, because good things happen to good people. And I thought, I don't believe you. I do not believe you. Not a lick. And there are so many stories associated with this. And God says to tell you, I broke my hand. I have had the privilege of having upwards of 70 breaks, bones, ribs, leg, arm, shoulders, knees, all that stuff. And I broke 10 bones in my hand one night when I was pulling the bus door closed at work, the company bus, which was broken. And I pulled the wrong side, broke 10 bones in my hand, my one hand. Small area. I mean, I saw the x-rays. I counted the breaks. Oh, dear Lord, they hurt. And I had gone and had x-rays taken. I have x-rays taken to make sure that there's not going to be a secondary issue with the break, such as a rib that is too close to the lung and it has a sharp end on it because it's been broken off, and you don't want to perforate the lung. All that sort of stuff. And it's just common sense. And I had a wonderful talk with the doctor in Fort Mac, surgeon, nice guy. Oh, gee, really nice guy. He looked at the x-rays. He said, how did you mush your hand? And I said, broken. I did not want to tell him. I was not going on WCB anyways, because you starve to death on that. God designed me to work, broken hand or not. And it was really broken. And he said, well, can I give you anything for pain? I said, no. I said, I don't need it. I said, if I do, I have T3s at home from the last time I broke something. I said, I never do perks, eh? Percocets are too strong, eh? And he said, really? I said, no, I don't do them. That young man, the demon guy, he heard that I'd broken my hand. He stepped right in my face. By then, he had been drugging me for 4 months. He thought he owned me. He thought he controlled me. Oh, and there's about 19 stories that I could tell you about his destructive, hate-filled attitude towards me. Not because I'm Irish or too tall, but because I love God. And he doesn't love the God that I love. And anyways, the next day after I had that interesting conversation with a surgeon at Fort Mac Hospital, he walked up to me and he said, "You're going to go back to the hospital with me." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're going to ask for perks." He said, "You're going to tell the doctor that you lied to him." I thought, you're crossing a line here, eh? Okay. And you're going to tell him that you need Percocets. And I thought, that's not hard. And so I went along with it. I thought, he's going to wait in the waiting room. I'm going to just say hello to the doctor and we'll fellowship a little bit because I really believe he is a Christian, eh? Like, he is such a nice guy. But no, this control character went in to emerge with me. And he would not hear of letting me talk to the doctor by myself because he thought he owned me because he had drugged me for 4 months. And so the doctor was standing in front of me and this demon person was standing behind me. And I smiled at the doctor. I said, couldn't give me some perks for these broken hand, could you? He said, no. I kind of smiled at him because he and I had already talked. It was the same doctor. He x-rayed the night before and then he x-rayed the next day. Then we went in and visited him the next day. And this doctor said to this demon guy, don't you just love this old cowboy? The demon guy, of course, he needed drugs, Percocets seemingly were his favorite. Doctor said, Jim, I can't give you Percocets. I said, thank you, and smiled at him because he and I had already talked about it. I don't like perks. He knew that. I had told him I didn't need anything for pain anyways. I had plenty of T3s from every other break that I would get. So this demon guy was angry, so angry. And it is so interesting that when people are trying to deceive you, they are going to be so pleasant. And then as soon as you start to catch on, they are going to reveal their true colors. Okay, let's go back to Athabasca. Sorry about the disjointed nature of this video, but if you can look at an overview, you'll understand, okay? So, the lady said, your eyebrows are evil, okay? You're a drunk. You're mentally ill. All you have to do for us to take care of you the rest of your life, you ready for this? You ready? She said, give us power of attorney over you. Book yourself into a mental institution and we will take care of you the rest of your life. I have some tough friends, rugged, tough friends. My one friend, true friend, he said, Jim, if you had not gotten away from that couple in Athabasca, you would have been killed. Simple. And I thought, I saw that lady's eyes, she would not hesitate at all, nor the other guy, the demon DOZER guy. And I think this question, how many other people had they actually done this to? It's a good question. They were so smooth. After this whole weekend was over and we went back to work, I still did not actually realize that he had been tampering with my food that he carried in. And I was talking with God as I would pray every 20 seconds, God, give me enough smarts to make it through the night. On the haul truck is big trucks and big roads and big risk involved. And you have to be extremely safe and drive that way. God said, don't eat anything that this man comes near. Don't drink anything. If he brings you a coffee, don't drink it. He said, you stop eating whatever he's offering and don't let him come near your lunch. And I quit. I quit that. It's really interesting. I don't know what kind of drugs they had me on, but the first 6 weeks, I went from 204 pounds down to about 167. Did not try to lose weight. I've kept it off ever since, that's the only good thing about it. The other good thing about it was God always told me, you are right where I want you to be. And I mean, I had so much stolen from me. You have no idea. 2 crossbows, 1 handgun, a legal 9mm handgun, an assault shotgun, an $800 box of Fat Mac Stanley tools, ratchets, wrenches, stuff like that. And I thought, he said, good things happen to good people. Well, evidently I was, in his opinion, not good. I wasn't. Because I chose to believe in God. And God saw me through. And God had a purpose in doing that. And I have not understood what that purpose was other than to teach me, don't trust anyone. Okay? I think that God says, be careful, is going to bring everything out into the open, the light of day. I am trusting God that He will work only that which He can. No one else can. Satan is a facsimile, but a created being, created by God. He has no hope to compete with God. None. None at all. None. I mean, none. So I know God has a purpose. And I wished that someone during that era that I was being drugged, I even went to the RCMP. Well, that demon DOZER guy, I think that's what I'll call him from now on. Sounds good. Demon DOZER guy. Yeah. I think that's the way she'll read. And shoot, that could be the title. I know that God will bring out into the clearing, the opening, daylight, what all happened back then. But I wish some intelligent RCMP officer said, let's get you drug tested, I would have said, yes, yes. Let's find out what they've been giving me. Well, no one believed me, so why would they have me drug tested? Okay, because it's Canada. You don't hear of people drugging the elderly. And incidentally, why would they bother drugging me? I won't even be 75 until October. I'm not old. I'm not elderly. Okay. Well, listen. Can't whine, complain, and live in the past. So I move on. But I'm always attentive to the Lord. You see, I asked the Lord, I said, kind of nice if you could get that guy to return my 2 crossbows, my Turkish 9mm handgun, legal, my assault shotgun, amazing shotgun, and the tools. And the guy actually stole a 5-liter jug of oil out of the backseat of my truck. How corrupt must you be to steal someone's oil? Think about it. Okay, listen. You're going to live until you die. It's the way it is. Only you can choose where you wish to spend eternity. You're not going to be able to blame God, your brother, your grandbrother, or grandfather, or whatever. It's all up to you. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. There is no other name given unto man whereby ye must be saved. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but rather have everlasting life. Pretty good set of lungs on the old dude, eh? How to be at peace with God? What do you think? Can you be at peace with God? Well, the answer in short is yes. How? Simple. Simple. Oh, tithe? No. Go to church? No. Become religious? No. Be the fulfillment of this simple prayer. You humble yourself and pray this simple prayer. Something like this. Your words, not mine, but yours. God, forgive me. I choose to believe that Jesus the Christ is your Son, that he, Jesus, suffered, bled, and died on the cross for my sins. I am truly sorry for having lived the way I have. Help me to be what you want me to be. My mother, throw an amen in there. Doesn't matter what you throw in there. It matters, do you mean it? Are you sincere? My mother said you could tell if a person was going to make it in their life as a Christian. I said, how? She said, by how sorry they actually were for having lived the way they had prior to becoming a believer. I thought, Mama, you're a smart lady. Smart farm girl, that one. Okay, God bless. I don't know if I'll ever broach this subject again. I don't know. I was poisoned. Hey, I know what it's like to be whacked in the head. I mean, I was so stoned on whatever they were giving me. Oh, dear Lord. I mean, I could walk, but not much more. So I'm glad to be back in front of the camera again. And I thought, Lord, I want to make a difference in somebody's life. I want to encourage them somehow. If you want to hear more about this drugging elder abuse situation, just comment. I mean, that guy drained the oil on my Dodge Cummins truck. Cost me $11,000. Can you believe? I mean, this is what I'm doing on a pretty much daily basis. I'm saying, God, cover and protect me with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Build a hedge of thorns around about me like you did with Job. God, I want to live for you. I want to know that you are real. I want to be your child. I want to honor you. But you got to protect me, okay? Because I don't like looking over my shoulder. It's discouraging. Okay, God bless. I hope and pray that you may have been benefited from this. And you watch out for these demon-possessed, demon, evil spirit-directed people who do elder abuse. Shameful. God bless you all. Have a good day. Over and out from Fort McMurray. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. God bless. Y'all take care.